You're listening to Airey Bros Radio. Be there or be square, because it's all killer, no filler.
Do the work. Stop talking about it and be about it. Do the fucking work. Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your words. Seems fucking easy on the surface. Break that shit open and start applying it to your life. That's what separates the fucking real deal motherfuckers from the posers. I don't, wave that flag of an abusive childhood just to like get pity. I do it to show people, hey, if I overcame all of this shit and I'm doing what I'm doing, anybody can do it. Fuck all these people. Do your own shit. Wake up every day. Meditate. Go beyond the Maya, the illusion. That's how they get you in this material world. We're meant to be warriors in this world. We're meant to stand up to injustice, but at the same time, we have to be full of compassion to people that need it. I feel that the principles of discipline are applicable in any realm of life, and that includes recovery, right? So what does that mean? I don't feel motivated, so I don't go do my training? No. If you have discipline don't give a fuck about your feelings. Discipline. That's the only way. When I don't want to write, that's when I show up to write. John Joseph here, and you're listening to Airey Bros Radio.
So, John, we like to do a little through line with all our guests, kind of how we were, turned on to their work or how they've had an impact on our life. And when I first heard about you, my buddy Steve Vitti, we call him Uncle Steve because he's got sage wisdom. He gave me Life of a Cro-Mag, and he said, this book changed my life. And
Evolution of a Cro-Mag.
I'm sorry. What a noob. Oh, man.
That's how much it changes.
It is the life of a Cro-Mag.
Yeah. So, well, just to let you know that I'm not a noob, I have a tattoo that says, in vibes we trust, rule number 3. But your work has had a deep impact on us.
Oh, cool, man. So, hopefully it helped. So
yeah,
I try to be of service in this world.
And then John, also, I was living in California in 2013, and I moved back to New Jersey, and Jimmy and I came up to New York in the fall of 2013, and we did a walking tour with you.
All right. Shit. Cool, so, man. Good stuff.
We are big fans, and I'm also an ultra marathoner, so I love following your stuff with the Ironman and all that stuff, and all your health and wellness and all that stuff, and then also with all that is the bullshit that's gone on in the last 3 years.
We're kind of unbelievable, dude.
We're kind of in line with you there. We don't necessarily have to get into all that stuff, but everything that you're about, we're about. We appreciate it. Cool. So we're grateful for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man.
John, I think one thing that really drew us to you is same thing that drew us to Jens Pulver. Here's a guy who had a tough childhood, who talks about it, and he kind of waves that flag for it. So that was something that kind of drew me to you. And then, getting into the spirituality side of things, the Hare Krishna side of things. One thing I've always wanted to ask you is, how do you manage, that punk rock New York City attitude with, doing the kitchen, the kitchens where you're feeding people food and you're having empathy? How do you balance that? Because I have a struggle with it.
Well, I can quote my teacher, Prabhupada, who said that a devotee should be soft as a rose and hard as a lightning bolt. So it doesn't mean, that just because we are warriors in this path of life, that we shouldn't also show compassion to people that need it. And that's a balance that you have to find in life. It's not this like turn the other cheek shit that you see. Some people, propagate that. I mean, the Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield. So we're meant to be warriors in this world. We're meant to stand up to injustice, but at the same time, we have to be full of compassion to people that need it. I started the food program at Tompkins Square Park in 1982. And I've been feeding the homeless and supporting and doing benefits. I mean, I did a concert called Rock Against Maya in 1983. There was like, we fed 5,000 people in Tompkins Square Park. So, I mean, it doesn't mean just because we help people that makes us weak. Actually, that's a strength to have, you know, that quality of compassion to help people is a strength. And people, like, you know, I'm just finishing up. I spent 3 years writing this next book on addiction. And one of the things I always say is, when I ask my teachers, how do I pay them back? They said, you can't. You pay it forward. So that's what I've been doing in this lifetime is trying to help other people. A lot of people reached out and helped me. So, you know, like I said, I grew up in a violent upbringing, and I don't, you know, wave that flag of an abusive childhood just to like get pity. I do it to show people, hey, if I overcame all of this shit and I'm doing what I'm doing, anybody can do it. You know, if you apply yourself and you stick to the process. So I had to do a lot of research in this book because I wanted to have the facts straight and the data and all that of addiction and all this. It's my story with it, my family story with it. I lost my brother October 20th of last year after like a 20-year battle of addiction. So I mean, it hits home. I mean, I lost a lot of friends. One of my best friends and guitar player in Bloodclot, Todd Youth, fucking died right after we did the record. He relapsed. It's just, I lost a lot of people to the disease. So just trying to pay back some of what was given to me. So, I find that people that feel they have to be rough to people all the time are the biggest posers, and I think it was Joe Frazier that said the most peaceful room is a room full of boxers, right? I think it was Joe Frazier that said that is a room full of fighters, because they don't have nothing to prove. There's a lot of people that, they ain't been through jack shit in their life, and then they're always coming across as tough guys or whatever, and those are not the guys. And I could just tell you, because there was a guy that used to work with us, and now in the early days in the Cro-Mags, he came on tour with us, and he's a world champion martial artist. He's in the diplomatic security service now in the elite division. Everybody that works with him is former special operations, and he is the quietest, humblest dude you have ever met. When he toured with us, he would not even take a seat in the van. 10-hour drives, he would sit on the floor because he wanted us to have extra space. So, you learn a lot from people. I learned a lot watching people in this lifetime, growing up in New York and traveling around the world and all that. So it's that balance, but that's the reason I stopped eating animals and all the rest of it. It's that practice of ahimsa, the nonviolence. But there also needs to be violence when it's time for violence. That's just, anybody who thinks differently is living in an illusion. And we see what happens when we don't stand up for ourselves and we give in to tyrants. Because look at what the fuck is going on now. Everybody shut the fuck up, go along with it. And worse than that, it was everybody from the scene. I fucking helped start hardcore. I've been going to punk rock concerts since 77. I fucking was there for the birth of hardcore. And to have the whole scene turn on me because I spoke up. I mean, I really don't give a fuck. You see them on the streets and they try to walk by like little fucking church mice after running their mouth. you know, this, like Mike Tyson said, a lot of people have been comfortable with saying shit on the internet that will get them punched in their fucking face on the street. And I ran into one of those dudes who contacted my fucking clients and said I'm a right-wing conspiracy theorist, kept reporting my page, talking shit. I ran into him in New York. He tried to walk by me. It didn't happen. And I was like, you know, and whatever. It was just that type of thing. Like, I come from the old school New York. Everything was up close and personal. It's not tough guy shit. It's like, if you're going to say something, say it to the person. Don't go running your mouth on the internet. And that's what we see what happened, like I said, with a bully. If you don't stand up to them, and I was bullied like, imagine being the only white kid in Spofford Correctional Facility in the fucking South Bronx in 1978, okay? Like, I had people step into me my entire life. I was out on the streets at 14 years old. I didn't let people fuck with me after I came out of that abusive foster home. If you were bigger than me, I would pick up a pipe and smash you across your face with it. That's just what it was. If you don't stand up to bullies, that's what happens. And I watched what happened to my mother. She was almost murdered by my father, who was a fucking piece of shit. Pro washed up professional boxer. So this is what we see, what just happened in the last 3 years. You know, if you said anything, they called you, and they're still doing it. Like, you know, now if you speak up against the child sex trafficking, you're another QAnon conspiracy theorist. You voted for Donald Trump. You're a right wing. You're all this bullshit. I'm the same fucking person that I was in 1980 when I got hip to the bad brains and all the rest of that shit. It was about destroy Babylon. It was about fucking stopping the crooked politicians, all of this shit. I remain true to the tenets of punk rock and hardcore. And look what happened with the whole scene.
You mentioned the tenets of punk rock and hardcore. Can you go into those, what they are,
Well, I'll
and
just
where
tell
they've
you
gone?
what the number one is, and then that just covers everything. Question authority. That's punk rock 101. Question authority. Who the fuck are these people that's telling you to do something? And not questioning it, not questioning what you're being told to do, just going along with it. That's why that label sheeple came along. I mean, I don't care. I didn't care what anybody else did. Just don't try to force shit on me. That was my whole thing. And that's what was happening. They mandated some shit that was never even tested for transmission or infection, and barred me from going anywhere. I couldn't fucking go to countries. I couldn't fucking go to my gym. I couldn't go to restaurants. I couldn't go in stores. Like, show your papers? What the fuck is that? Show me some papers. And everybody fell in line for that shit. And I did not. And they tried that they were going to take my girlfriend's job. We just got sick of the bullshit. And then you had fucking pussies who've never been in a fucking street fight in their fucking life telling me that I'm a coward because I ran away to Florida. Fucking, first of all, I was already planning to move here because I train in Ironman. I was out all winter long in January and February riding in 75-degree weather. I was already planning to move here. I live in a Hare Krishna community down here in Alachua. So, like, I'm going to be growing my own fruits and vegetables organic. Like, I'm getting off the grid. All of this shit. Like, it was already a plan, but what expedited it was the bullshit that went down in New York. And I just was like, I mean, I have friends that I considered brothers that won't even talk to me anymore. You know, and I'm fine with that. You know what? That's been my whole life. I've been a fucking nomad. Fucking just go here, go there, wherever. You don't want to, you know, fuck with me, that's fine. Like, you know what? We put out one of the best records of 2022. Bloodclot, Tom Capone from Quicksand, Craig Satari from Sick of It All, Darren Morgenthau, who filled in for the Cro-Mags, Madball, fucking the record Slade. And they and hardcore dudes were calling up the label and calling up the distributors, telling them not to distribute the record, telling companies not to sell, not to buy my books. I mean, it's fucking unbelievable. But hey, you know what? I don't, it's not that I'm bitching about it, because I don't care either way. The record still sold out. The record still was #1 in European distribution through Cortex for like 3 weeks. I mean, and the message of the whole record has been the message that I've been saying since I got into punk rock. Like you said, circling back, question authority, question the man, question the military industrial complex. Look what's going on now in Ukraine. It's fucking, we've seen it over and over and over again, and people keep, it's like there's 3 classes of intelligence. First class intelligence is you hear something and you say, okay, I'm not going to touch that flame. Second class intelligence, we touch the flame and we get burned and we learn our lesson. Third class intelligence, we keep touching the flame over and over and over and getting burned. How many times are we going to get burned by these politicians in this government? And it's right and left. Both fucking parties are voting for this war. Both parties got kickbacks from Bankman-Fried, whatever that fucking piece of shit kid was that invested all the money. That was the biggest scandal than Enron. And where did the story go? Because the money was funneled back through politicians, through Ukraine. Ukraine bought his shit. He gave the money to politicians for their campaigns. It's just corruption at the highest level. And the only way to battle that shit is spirituality. It's a war of consciousness right now. That's what's really going on. And it's a war, and you may think it's corny or cliche. It's a fucking war of good versus fucking evil. How is it that you could put out a movie about stopping the child sex trafficking ring, right? And they're going to call it a QAnon conspiracy theory everywhere, based on a real guy, Tim Ballard. I know Navy SEALs that worked with him that vouched for him and were like, that dude is fucking legit. And now all of a sudden, nobody had anything bad to say about Tim Ballard. Now that the movie comes out and it was #1 in its opening, even over Indiana Jones, that they spent $300 fucking million on. Now it's getting so much press. You know, where's the Jeffrey Epstein client list? Where's the fucking 85,000 missing children that came across the border in the last 2 years? Where do you think they are right now? They are being fucking sex trafficked. They're putting into slavery camps, working the most fucked up jobs that you could ever imagine. Child labor, all of it. And nobody's questioning it. Everybody's just like, move on, nothing to see here. I just, personally, I just, whatever, man. I chant every day. I do my meditation. I do my training. Like I said, I'm going through this book right now. I'm on the second edit, and then I'll hand it off to my editor. And I have my work to do, but at the same time, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for fucking 43 years in punk rock hardcore, and that's calling out the bullshit.
So you said you have the second edit of the book?
Yeah. Well, I went through it once, and now I'm going through it again,
Yeah.
and then I'll pass it off to the editor. And then, whatever happens with it, happens with it. I don't care. Like, I'm on the fucking cancel list. I could give a shit less because I'll just sell it directly and that'll be it.
Was that something, were you working on that before your brother passed?
Yes.
Yeah.
My brother passed like a year ago. I've been writing this book for 2 years.
Okay.
Before that. So this is like coming up on 3 years that I've been working on this book every day. And, I got other projects too. I'm writing a comedy. And, just keeping busy, man. Work going out to LA at after Labor Day to record some new Bloodclot tracks. And, just keep doing it. And anybody that wants to listen or whatever, cool. If not, no problem. I mean, I noticed like we didn't get asked to play any festivals, nothing. Think about that. And all these magazines, Rolling Stone, what a fucking piece of shit that magazine is now. It's not even about music. They're owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and all of them. So anybody that says anything against the agenda, it's like, boom, you're not getting a fucking ounce of fucking airtime anywhere. That's what they do. This is censorship. When the lie loses power, they resort to censorship. But that's how, hey, I don't care, because my career started out playing fucking independent little dirtbag fucking punk rock clubs, man, and squats and whatever the fuck. Like, I remember the Bad Brains and the Cro-Mags played a show in a squat in like 83 to save my friend's building. And they had a little studio on the ground floor, and the Bad Brains and the Cro-Mags played in this fucking building, man. There was rain coming in and fucking, there was like, I don't know, 100 people there just fucking going buck wild. I mean, I remember when the Bad Brains started playing in New York. When I saw them in 1980 in the spring in Norfolk, when I was in the Navy, it was fucking 50 people there. New York, same thing. Nobody was going to see the Bad Brains. Nobody was going to see the Misfits. It was like this little tight fucking scene, So if it's got to come back to that, I just say it like this. I'd rather have the quality than the quantity. I don't do music to make money. You see who's doing music to make money, because all the punk rock hardcore bands didn't say shit. Oh, and some of these bands that everybody thinks that they're these big rebels and whatever, kick members out. I was hearing from everybody behind the scenes. This band kicked this dude out that didn't take the vaccine, all this bullshit. So a lot of frauds got exposed during the whole shit. It's not my it's not my trip in life. Whatever, I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. But like I said, I'm a New Yorker. I grew up fighting on the streets of New York. If you come at me, I'm going to come at you 10 times harder. I'm not backing down. That's what happened. And people are like, when are you going to let it go? I'm like, yo, they fucking destroyed my fucking business and everything. Like, for the last fucking 2 years, I've had to just keep working to battle what these motherfuckers are doing. And now the evidence is coming out of that it was just a big scam, and now I'm supposed to shut up. Doesn't work that way, homie.
You bring up not being able to get shows, not getting called in for the summer festivals and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people know you from other avenues besides your music, and that we're huge fans of your writing and just you in general and your message. And how I got in contact with you was because of your coaching website. So what is what does your coaching service look like? Is that on the athletic side? Is that on the food side? A little bit of everything?
Well, it's mindset, and I teach in the niche of discipline, right? So I've had people that own like $20 million construction companies, professional athletes, businessmen, just regular people, whatever. Anybody that needs a push in discipline, and I have a 10-step process of discipline, and I actually incorporated that into this book on addiction and recovery, because I feel that the principles of discipline are applicable in any realm of life, and that includes recovery, right? So that's what, And then I do one-on-one coaching too. I'll run seminars. I coach people for whatever they want. If it is athletics, whatever, you know, everything's mindset. Like they say, mindset is everything, right? But without discipline, that's what I talk about. If you're, you know, and even Rogan just said it the other day, that, you know, motivation is bullshit. Because one day you're going to feel motivated and the next day you're not. So what does that mean? I don't feel motivated, so I don't go do my training? No. If you have discipline don't give a fuck about your feelings. Disciplined people go and do, just like today. I had to do a 25-mile heart rate fucking ride, which means I'm pushing the fucking envelope and crushing it. And it's fucking brutal out here in Florida. It's fucking 90 degrees at 11 o'clock in the morning. Fucking 100% humidity. But what was I going to do? Oh, the weather, I'll stay inside in the air conditioning. No, you go out and you fucking do it. That's it. You go get it done. What does Rich Roll say? Mood follows action, right? It's not that just because you don't feel like doing something, you know what? My brother died on October 20th. I got the call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What could I do? I couldn't go up to New York. I couldn't get a fucking flight till the next day. You know what I did? I got on my fucking computer and I wrote in that book a chapter all about his life. And I put all of that emotion of losing my kid brother into that fucking chapter. And what I witnessed him go through and all the craziness, right? And it's one of the most powerful chapters in the book. But that's what I really teach in the coaching system is, you know, 10 principles. This is a great book for anybody that's, you know, and I don't just push my books, you know. There's a lot of books that are out there, and this is a great one. My wife gave me this for Valentine's Day. It's The Gift That Keeps Giving. The 12-week year. It's about, and the funny thing is, a lot of what they say in that book, I already was teaching in my coaching system. Time management, keeping agreements to yourself, all of that. Who's your network? Who are you hanging out with? How to get after big goals, break them down, compartmentalize, break them down into smaller, manageable parts, right? Like writing a book. Staring at a fucking Word document. How am I going to fill up 300 fucking pages of this book? How do you do it? Break it down. Chapters, sub-chapters, bullet points. What do I want to say? I have a stack of fucking cards. As you can see, that's my flick back there. So that's how, there's a system to do it. And I know what works for myself. And that's what I just try to teach that. And I'm offering a free seminar coming up for 25 people, like on my coaching page, John Joseph Coaching on Instagram. So like, you know, it's always about trying to help people too. You know, sometimes people need a little push, but you know, the coaching thing is great. And the other thing is, like you said, I have other avenues. I'm on a speakers bureau. I'm going out to speak at a Veg Fest. I've spoken at prisons, everywhere to try to help people. And I'm also working on a one-man show right now that we're going to launch late fall in New York City. So I was just up there for 2 weeks with the producers and the director and looking at theaters and stuff like that. So, you know, one door closes, another opens, man. I'm still going to make music because that's what I do. That's what I've been doing since 1980 now. So I'm not giving it up. It's just I'm also not a one-trick pony. I got all kinds of shit going on, you know. I got an Ironman coming up. I got, you know, I'll be working on another book. So that's it.
You doing Boulder this year? What do you got? What's coming up?
I'm doing Florida for sure on the first week in November, Panama City Beach. I got really sick last year and fucking collapsed. Like I pushed through, I was ill that day, and I pushed through, and my body just gave out 2 miles from the finish line in Panama City Beach. So I'm going to get that, and I might do Chattanooga. I'm not sure yet. September 24th. I just had a compressed disc it took me out of training for 2 months. So I might go down in Goggins that shit, man, and I don't care if it takes me fucking 14, 15 hours, and just have a blast out there, enjoy it. God bless, I'm alive. I'm able to do this shit. That's about it. Just keep busy, man. Just keep moving. Keep the good work coming.
You mentioned, John, that you not only promote your books, but you mentioned that other 12-week year there. Another book that I think I first learned of from you has been very impactful is the Four Agreements. So I thank you for that. I'm actually just reading it probably now for the 4th or 5th time. I'm on the last chapter, but that's something that I've heard you speak on many times. So.
Absolutely, man. I actually someone gave me tickets to see Don Miguel Ruiz speak. First they gave me the book, and then I was like, holy shit, man. Like, this explains so much in life, right? Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your word. Seems fucking easy on the surface. Break that shit open and start applying it to your life. That's what separates the fucking real deal motherfuckers from the posers. And that's what I tried to do. And then when I read the book, she was like, it was my girlfriend at the time. She gave me tickets. It was in like 2000. I went to see him 23 years ago in New York City. And he was in this small little fucking theater, man. Fucking blew me away. So yeah, I always try to push the Four Agreements. And also The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, another great book. He's been on Rogan's podcast. If you guys, he's a bad motherfucker, Stephen Pressfield. And he talks about, resistance, that when there's a deep resistance to something, it indicates that there's a deep need for that particular thing in our lives. That's why we resist against it. And he gives chapters all about, as a matter of fact, when I took Robert McKee's seminar, the only fucking book that he fucking sold besides Story, that's the first pressing of Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art. You can't even get this anymore with this fucking shiny, with this shiny cover. And look, it says forward, because Robert McKee wrote the forward. So I got this book, and I've been applying that shit. But what does he say? That resistance and self-doubt can be an ally. That is because it serves as an indicator of aspiration and reflects love of something, of dreaming and doing, and desire to do it. If you find yourself asking yourself, am I really a writer? Am I really an artist? Chances are you are. The counterfeit innovator is widely self-confident. The real one is scared to death. So he gets into all this stuff about resistance, and I just try to put myself under the microscope constantly in this life. Self-awareness, turning what you have nowadays is everybody putting the camera on everybody else and not putting the lens on themselves. What the fuck do you got going on inside of you, buddy? In your fucking head. And that's what it's all about. I don't really give a fuck, and that's what, what does he say in the Four Agreements? If somebody's putting poison out there, don't take it personal. They're showing you what they're dealing with. They're showing you their consciousness. All these people write shit. They create fake pages of lies. All of this bullshit. I don't give a fuck. If you got nothing but time, I'm up at fucking 5 o'clock writing, then I'm fucking walking my dog, then I'm training, then I'm going out on a bike ride, then I'm writing some more. I got podcasts, I'm doing, a recipe for my cooking show. My day is fucking absorbed. I don't have time to go fucking create fake pages and talk shit about, like seriously, that's the goal of your life. So you have to say, like, what are these people dealing with that that's what they put out to the world. So that's why you don't take it personal. And I don't. But if somebody walks up to me on the street, that's another issue. Then we deal with it. But I've had enough fights. I've been shot, stabbed, teeth knocked out. Like, I've had my fucking brawls on the streets, man. I've been hit with fucking pipes, baseball bats. Like, I don't have anything to prove at this point, so I don't walk around with a chip on my shoulder. I would rather cook some food and go to Tompkins Square Park and feed 200 people than to have a beef with somebody. That's how I'm using my time. So, though all of these books are there as a lesson to teach us things in life. And that's another great book by Stephen Pressfield. Do the work. Stop talking about it and be about it. Do the fucking work. That's what everybody's like, talking shit and running their mouths on the internet about all the great shit they're doing. Like, don't say nothing, just fucking do it. That's what I say, because you know what? People are going to put the fucking juju out there, the bad juju on you. Let them read about what you got fucking going on. That's, just work every day. It's that work ethic, man. That's what divides people that get shit done. If I just talked about writing a book, you can't even believe how many people I know that have been like, I have a great idea for a book or a script, or I want to write this album, and they never do it. Do the work. Just fucking do the work, man. Show up. Invest yourself. That's what it takes.
John, you brought up Robert McKee, and it's so funny because I remember you mentioned going to his class and, using his stuff to write your first book when you've been on podcasts. I've heard you talk about it, and I just finished film school, and one of the books was Robert McKee, and it was just like, John Joseph told me to read that 10 years ago. Man. Yeah. And the other book is Science of Self-Realization.
Prabhupada's. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for those books, because those were game changers. And with a lot of your stuff too, it took some time to comprehend it, right? With the nutrition, with the science of self-realization, writing. So it takes time, but I appreciate you putting the work out there and constantly bringing that same message and never changing.
John, are we living in the age of the Kali Yuga?
Absolutely, but we're also living in the golden period, the age of awakening, the age of Aquarius. There's a 10,000 year period within the Kali Yuga, which is 427,000 years. We're in a 10,000 year period of divinity, of higher consciousness. And it's been happening for the last 500 years. So that's why you're seeing all of this shit. The negative forces are fucking going all in to stop what's happening, but they can't. And, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. And people want to be together. People, it's this divide and conquer mentality. That's all they have left. Look what the fuck these people do. And if you read the Science of Self-Realization, that's what Prabhupada talks about, the peace formula in that book. How do we bring peace to the planet? Prabhupada breaks it down. So this is the Kali Yuga, but it's also an age of awakening. People are waking up their consciousness, and it's always the darkest before the dawn. That's what I say, man. Just, keep fighting your fucking demons. Keep battling every fucking day. Try to better yourself, right? 1% better every day. Show up. I chant every day, read every day. Prabhupada's books. Try to be of service. And, I was just listening to, there's plenty of lectures on YouTube you can listen to Prabhupada. And I mean, I'll just read you something right here that I just got the other day. And I mean, if this is not the truth, I don't know what is, man. See, that's the thing about the truth. It's not subject to time. So people say, all this stuff about, the lyrics of the Cro-Mags and all that. And I'm like, well, it was based on Prabhupada's teachings. So how could that ever, trying to find that post. Give me 1 second. How could that ever go out of not being the truth?
John, as you look for that, you mentioned all the people
I got it. Go ahead.
That come up to you and tell you about they want to write a book and they never get it done. What do you think? What you do it every day, right? It's part of your practice, part of your spiritual practice and who you are. How does someone get on that track?
Discipline. That's the only way. When I don't want to write, that's when I show up to write. There's days I don't want to write. And you know what? When I do the work, like what is Stephen Pressfield talks about, the muse, the goddess of inspiration, rewards you. And like I've had some of the best ideas and writing sessions when I showed up when I didn't want to. If you're a writer, you write. If you're a musician, you make music. If you're a fighter, you fight. Go to fucking train. Go do whatever. You can't just wear a fucking label and then you don't do what the fuck is required in that particular field. That's called, again, a poser. So, you like one of the things that I talk about in my coaching system is to apply the antidote, right? So for every problem, there's a solution if we apply the correct, just like with medicine or herbs or whatever, right? You diagnose disease, find out what it is. Okay, change my diet, do these herbs, do these fucking nutrients, whatever. Fix the problem. So it's the same thing in life. If somebody says to me, I can never write a book, right? That's the problem. What's the antidote? I can never do an Ironman. That's the problem. You're telling me. What's the antidote? You know what I tell them? How do you know you can't do it if you never tried? Did you sit there and apply yourself every fucking day? 100% of your consciousness, like I said in the PMA Effect, did you go all in? The universe and the process knows when you're cheating and half-assing it. The universe wants what you're holding back. If you're meant to be a writer, you will be a writer. When I was locked up as a 16-year-old, I was writing. I went to Rollway State Prison and Fishkill State Prison, fucking correctional facility, maximum security, talking with the lifers groups that are never getting out of prison. Scared straight. That was us. And what they say, after they scared the fuck out of us, they said, what's your program? What are you doing to better yourself while you're incarcerated? That's when the light switch came on. I started writing. And right away, the teacher at the school there said, you got a gift for writing. Wow, fan that spark. But I kept writing. I kept writing songs. I kept writing, I just kept writing. Like, I wrote Evolution of a Cro-Magnon and spent over 5 years on it because it was therapy for me. I wasn't trying to get sympathy or anything. I needed to write that book to fucking deal with my own inner fucking demons. That's why I sat down and applied myself to the writing process. And Robert McKee was the one who was like, I kept getting to certain aspects of the book. And then I talk about it all the time. I would just break down, fucking have emotional breakdowns. Like I stayed by myself, no relationships, nothing. For like 4 years of that writing process, I basically was like a fucking monk. True story. And every time I come to the most painful shit, I would have a breakdown and fucking just scrap the book. And then Robert McKee said, it's not what happens to somebody, it's what the character do as a result. That's the story. And then what did he write when he signed my book? Here it is. Original fucking version. What does it say? Write the truth. Robert McKee. So that's when the light came on. And this is what Prabhupada said, because I want to get to that, and you'll see how relevant it is. The human being is the elder brother of all living beings. He is endowed with intelligence more powerful than animals for realizing the course of nature and the indications of the Lord Sri Krishna. Human civilization should depend on the production of material nature without artificially attempting economic development to turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and power only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. That is but the life of hogs and dogs. And Prabhupada said that in the 60s.
Has anyone ever asked you to do the audiobook of The Science of Self-Realization? Because
I would never do that. Why would I
I think no, not rewrite it, but do read it. I would love to listen to you read it as an audiobook. No?
Prabhupada, there's lectures of him giving those same. I always tell people, listen, you get all these people in the Hare Krishna movement now that think they're Prabhupada. They're rewriting the Bhagavad Gita and all this. These are hoaxsters, man. Even in the Hare Krishna movement. And I'm just going to put this up there now for everybody who thinks that I just started doing this shit about, okay, because this article came out in 95. Krishna Core, right? In Spin Magazine. And here I am. What did I say that nobody else said? That they are fucking molesting children, murdering people, stealing millions of dollars, and they're acting like they're this spiritual organization. ISKCON is controlled by demons. Okay? Right now. So I've been speaking out against that and what's going on in this whole thing for years. You know, you got to call a spade, man. What is it? What did Edmund Burke say? The only thing it's needed for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. And there's too many motherfuckers doing nothing. Everybody's just letting shit get by. And again, we come back to the bullies, right? Bill Gates, all of these, World Economic Forum, Joe Biden, all these people. Look what's going on in the last 2 years. You know, and it's only going to get worse, man. They're telling us what's coming, man, and people better start standing up to it, man. I don't care. I'm going to grow my own food. I don't give a fuck. But we're going to see some crazy shit go down in the next few years. And how do you prepare yourself for that? Consciousness. That's it. You're not going to beat these people on a material level. What did Joe Biden say? You want to fight the government? We have nukes and planes and helicopters. But you know what? This is a war of consciousness. This is a war of good versus evil. That's what we're seeing manifesting. That's the thing that they fear the most, is people coming together on a spiritual level, right? Because what did Prabhupada say? What's the solution to everything that's going on right now? Aham Brahmasmi. You're not the body. Everybody's putting these 27 fucking labels on themselves and all this bullshit. You're none of that. You're a spirit soul. When I lived as a monk in the temple for 2 years, we never had a single racial incident ever because people didn't vibrate on that platform. It was a spiritual process. We were trying to see people that they're not the body, that it's the spirit soul. We try to interact on a spiritual platform. So all the material bullshit goes away. All of this bullshit, racism, sexism, all of it is gone. That and everything in this planet belongs to God. They want God's kingdom without God. Look at all these demons. fucking Bill Gates, the World Economic Forum, all of them. This motherfucker, everything he does is to hurt people. I want to spray dust. I'm going to go all over the place and inject people. I want to put a peel on organic produce. I want to release millions of mosquitoes and genetically, like, who the fuck still believes that this is a good person? Did you see the video where he was like, yeah, a lot of people didn't take this one serious, and he looks at his wife and goes, they said the next one's really going to get their attention. And then they both looked at the camera and smirked. You tell me those are good people? Everybody's hoodwinked. Fuck all these people. Do your own shit. Wake up every day. Meditate. Go beyond the Maya, the illusion. That's how they get you in this material world. When you don't give a fuck about that, when you're just like, I'm going to be over here doing my thing, that's what they fear, because they don't want you going all in on the consciousness. They're trying to control your consciousness. That's what the TV and the media and all this shit is doing. Avoid it. Disregard it. Move on. Amen. Let's do the rapid fire.
Amen. John, are you a coffee drinker?
No.
No. Do you take any caffeine or no?
There's some herbs I take that have some caffeine in it, but you know.
Is that a daily thing or no?
Sometimes, not really. You know, it depends. Like, I get energy from my food, man.
Right on.
John, we kind of touched on it a little bit throughout this episode, but do you have a daily practice or ritual that you do on a daily basis to show up as the strongest version of John Joseph?
Get up and chant in the morning. Get up, take a cold shower. Get up, write. Get up, read, study. Get up, be of service. It's a daily thing, man. You know, like, eat good food. I'm always cooking something. I just made a dish last night. I posted it. It was a dish from Santa Maria stir fry, like, just, and I eat all organic food. So I did. Let me see if this fucking bullshit. Yeah, you can't really see it, but it's
right.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Roasted potatoes. Santa Maria stir fry was on top of homemade pesto and hummus. And then I had red lentil pasta with a vegan Alfredo sauce. Lots of vegetables. You know, every day, man. You got to invest in yourself, man. Look what they did during the whole shit. They're telling everybody the obese ones suffered the most, and then they're handing out fucking Whoppers and Big Macs and fucking, like, yo, how is, like, anybody believing these people? Where is the big change, Ben? We saw who was affected the worst by COVID, but then again, we don't make the changes. Where's the big, they did 24 hours, 24/7 fear porn. Where's the fear porn now on television about obesity and diabetes and all the rest of the shit that can lead to breaking down your immune system? So when the next one comes, which they're saying is coming, everybody's prepared for it. That's how you make the best version of yourself, is you show up and you do the fucking work. And you put your heart and soul into something. That's how you get it done, man. It's fucking, and you do it when you don't want to fucking do it. It's like Goggins just said the other day. He had a video. You don't want to run? Put your fucking sneakers on and run. You don't want to ride your bike? Get on your fucking bike. You don't want to swim? Go fucking swim. Whatever it is you're resisting against, shut that shit the fuck down. And my friend trained under that fucking dude. I met Goggins and everything, man. My buddy did the machine gun course in the Salton Flats and had to train under fucking David Goggins. And he said that man is a fucking savage, man. My buddy just retired 20 years in the SEAL teams. You know, big ups to AJ James. He was in Act of Valor, the movie and all that. bad motherfucker. And like, these dudes are for real. I'm not like, I try to associate with people that are on that level, those top tier humans, men and women. So maybe some of their good qualities will rub off on me. It's who we associate with. And Prabhupada said that 90% of our advancement in any particular thing in life depends on the association that we keep. That's another aspect of my coaching business. Define your network. Who the fuck are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with people that get shit done under any and all circumstances, or the flakes that make fucking excuses? So that's the best version of anybody, not just me. I'm not anybody special. All I decided was this is what I want, and I went after it, balls to the fucking wall. And I never fucking quit. They had to drag me off that fucking course in a fucking in the medical fucking vehicle, because I was suffering even before I started the marathon. I was suffering during the bike, 2.4 mile ocean swim, 112 on the bike. I was throwing up blood on the bike. I still got off and got on that run course, and then I lost all my electrolytes and collapsed. The same shit happened to somebody I was in the medical tent with, and he died right across from me. I watched him take his last breath. So don't quit. Don't fucking quit. Simple as that.
Discipline, daily practice.
Discipline creates the habits. Habits create the routines. The routines become who we are, not who the fuck we say we are. That's the problem. It's not what the fuck we're trying to convince the world we are. It's when you pull that fucking mask off under pressure, right? What does Robert McKee say? True characters only revealed under pressure. The greater the pressure, the greater the revelation of true character. Fucking life 101. That's why I took McKee's course and praise that motherfucker every chance I get. It's philosophy, man. It's the philosophy of life. It's getting back to when people sat around campfires thousands of years ago telling stories. It's become a lost art. Look at the films. They suck. They fucking suck. That's just what he says too, and I agree with it. Fucking, there'll be one film maybe in a year that'll be like, wow, okay, that was fucking, that moved the needle.
John, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
I'm reading, what am I reading? The Comic Toolbox, because I'm writing a comedy. I always break open they came out with these little pamphlets of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I got every day I'll read podcasts, fucking Rogan, whatever. This music-wise, old school, man. All Motown, reggae, fucking whatever the fuck, Motorhead. I got my I still have an iPod that I fucking run with playlists and all that shit, and so I'm like listen to the old school shit. I'll tell you what I don't listen to: bands like the Dead Kennedys or any of that shit. That motherfucker talked so much anti-government shit, and he's the biggest government lapdog now. I threw out a lot of fucking records, man. I can't even listen to that shit when it comes on. Foo Fighters, next. Foo Fighters, next.
Rage on behalf of the machine.
Well, here's the thing. I'm friends with some of the guys in that band, and there's a lot of motherfuckers that's talking shit. Maybe they didn't stand up, and I believe they should have, but they never. There was a time when you were coming out where the venues were demanding the vaccines. It had nothing to do with the bands. Would I play a vaccinated only show? Hell fucking no. Would Madball? No. and they stood up to it. And then the whole hardcore scene came after them when we did the fucking concert in Tompkins Square Park. Not to mention there was fucking 70,000 people in Yankee Stadium and in Citi Field going to see the Mets. That didn't matter. We were punk rock, and we stood up and did a concert in the park, and the whole world came at us. So, but Jello Biafra is a fucking sellout, and there's a whole bunch more too. I cannot even listen to that shit. Fucking these bands that kick people out for not being vaccinated. I know who they are. And then I see them moshing on stage and acting like psychopaths. You're a fucking fraud. Next.
God,
Can't even listen to it.
Rich has another question for you, but real quick, what are the bands that we should be listening to that are true to punk rock besides you and Madball?
Old school Bad Brains. I mean, Hate Breed, all this, and they're more on the metal side, but I love Sick of It All too. Fucking Armand and fucking Craig said, nah, we're not taking that shit. And then the hardcore scene came at him. There's a new band called that all the dudes, Dickie and all them. What's their fucking band called?
Dickie who?
Dickie Barrett. Fucking, they just formed a new band with Pete Parada that got kicked out of the Offspring, writing their song, Keep Them Vaccinated. I gotta tell you what the name of the band is now. Hold on. He's in, he just played with the Bronx, but he's got, the Defiant.
Okay.
Dickie from Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. If you put out punk rock records and you didn't stand up to this bullshit, you're full of shit. Hardcore bands didn't say nothing, full of shit. That's my personal opinion. I don't care. I was around before any of them. I just say, like, hey, man, everybody was hardcore until it was time to do hardcore shit. How am I going to put all these records out? Age of Quarrel, all the Bloodclot records, Burn Babylon Burn, Up in Arms, all the shit, Both Worlds, fucking, and then, like, not speak up with what just happened. So anyway, I can't, and then again, there's bands I like that maybe they ain't saying nothing, but they didn't come out criticizing everybody. Turnstile, I like. I think we played with them at a festival in Europe, and I was like, you motherfuckers better stay together because you got some magic going on, like, they were good. I like Quicksand, all these bands, fucking, I still got Quicksand. I did the band Bloodclot, the last record with Tom Capone, the guitar player. So, like, I still like listen to that shit. Orange 9mm, Chaka fucking spoke up. That's my fucking dog. We played with them when I was in that band Both Worlds with AJ Novello. Chaka's a stand-up motherfucker. He said the same thing I said, but why didn't they attack him? Ask yourself that. Guilty of being white. You can't even sing them fucking songs now. Right? Minor Threat. All these fucking songs. Like, anyway, I don't play all that bullshit anyway. Chaka's my boy. I love that motherfucker, man. Who else? There's some bands out there. I posted on Facebook the other day, man. Name some bands that fucking spoke out against the bullshit, and everybody was hitting me with a whole fucking list. And look at Ice Cube. Turned down all this fucking money, $7 or $8 million in a movie role. Go listen to that podcast on Joe Rogan that he just did. Turn down air. And then people are like, well, he's rich anyway. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with it, man? The man took a stand against the bullshit. That's the reality. And I always like NWA and all that shit. I listen to a lot of the old school hip hop too. And look at the shit now, mumble rap. It's fucking garbage. I was in Spofford the first time I ever heard Homeboy, 78, hip hop in the South Bronx. You want to see a good movie? Go watch the documentary my man Shan Nichols did called Rubble Kings, Rubble, Kings. It's all about the gangs in New York. That's where that scene from the Warriors came from. And that was a real event that happened. When they shot Cyrus, that they had a big meeting and one of the main gang leaders got killed. And then war broke out in the Bronx. And it's the birth of hip hop and like how shit came out of the Bronx. There's so much good art out there, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Namaste, Om Tat Sat, Shalom, Shamalama Ding Dong.
Good luck with your training, John.
Thanks, man. Hey, you know what? I enjoy the fuck out of it. That's why I do it, man. If you don't enjoy something, you're not gonna stick with it.
No doubt.
That's the reality of it. And that's what this book talks about, which I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, was the 12-week year. When you have an emotional attachment to something, you're not going to quit when it gets difficult. I didn't think for a second when my brother died, let me go out and get fucked up. I went and did what a writer is supposed to do. I got on my fucking computer and I wrote. I channeled it. I haven't quit since. It's going on a year almost since he died. Every day I'm showing up, no matter what the fuck I'm going through. I show up and I write. Under the pressure. And you should be putting yourself under pressure. Everybody wants these easy peasy lives. I don't want that. I'm looking for the challenge. Where is it? That's why I'm training. 61 years old.
Hell yeah.
It's like, that's why I'm still out here doing it. I enjoy it. It's part of what I do. But you got to find your niche in life and stick with it. Don't quit. When it gets tough, don't quit. That's a test. If we don't get tested, we don't advance. Prabhupada said that. The tests are there so that we push through and advance. That's why you have trainers, right? It's the plateau effect. The trainer takes you out of that comfort zone and pushes you. What do they say? There's no, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's no growth in those comfort zones. So, glad to chop it up with you fellas, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your time
What do
today,
you got,
John.
an old school ship on your chest?
Yes, sir.
I love that old school flash shit.
Never goes out of style.
Yeah, did you see Jonathan Shaw's movie, Scab Vendor?
No, I did not.
Oh, man, you got to see that.
All right.
It's a documentary on him, man. He's like one of the old school, his father's Artie Shaw, the jazz musician. He was fucking born in the 50s in like on the Lower East Side. He fucking been through hell and back, dude. Friends with Iggy Pop, Johnny Depp, fucking just everybody, man.
What's the name of the doc?
It's called Scab Vendor.
Okay.
Jonathan Shaw.
Sweet. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, man. It's he just did a little run showing it in small places and signing books and stuff like that. He's a good dude. He did that shit on me. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. In 1981 at Spiderweb's house on 6th Avenue on the west side, like on 18th Street or somewhere over there. But I've been friends with him ever since, man.
I will definitely look into that. You always have the best stuff to peep. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. And send me the link, man. I'll be sure to post it up. I
All
like
right.
that. I see the Manchurian candidate behind you. That's pretty fucking telling. Oh shit, David Icke, look at you. Holy shit.
Go check out our short film, Double Ripple. It's all about what you've been
Well,
talking
email
about.
me the fucking link, and man, I'll definitely check that shit out.
I will.
All right, fellas.
Take
Later,
care.
John. Be
Keep the
well.
PMA. Keep it greasy.